guys,
welcome to Rebellion. Sorry.
Wow, we were synced up on that one.
No worries. I misunderstood. I'm sorry.
Hey guys, good to see you, hear you,
yeah.
talk to you. Sorry we weren't yesterday, but we've been feeling the energy of a lot of haters out there. Apparently there's bigger deal resentment than I would have thought for us doing what we're doing, but that's okay. You know, Cat Williams once said, if you don't have people hating on you, you're not doing it right. Still, it gets kind of annoying and frustrating, especially such troubled times. So every now and then we choose just to bow out, you know, go to ground, so to speak, meditate, and kind of get our energies back, and then try and do a better show next week.
Yeah, I'm pretty.
And that's the honest truth, guys. It's not an apology thing. We just, you know, I mean, we honestly been having like really bad luck today, right after the show on Sunday, when just a lot of shit goes wrong in our household or our lives or whatever. You know, once is a coincidence, once is an occurrence, two is a coincidence, but after 3 or 4, you start getting some people really hating on you. And, you know, I get it.
I have a lot of psychic protections up, but we're also kind of hypersensitive, so yeah, we feel it a little more.
Yeah, so there's people throwing shade and feeling all butthurt, and it's okay, but we've decided that we're going to go on the show anyway, so at this point, if you want to chuck shit at us, go right ahead. We're not going to throw shit back. This is our news show, which we've been neglecting, too. They haven't been wanting us to do the news show either at all. And me, hi, someone, whoever you are. I don't see who it is, but if you can comment, let me know so I can see if we're able to talk to you. So, anyway, we don't have many people on. We just have them, but it's okay. That's okay.
That's cool.
They know we're on.
All right. Anyway, so I have some updates, partly psychic and partly just from reading the news and, you know, maintaining myself, you know. You know what I'm saying? Like just from, you know, reading the news, figuring out stuff in my head, putting things together. A lot of that is like help that I get from, hey, everybody, listen, comment. If I haven't seen anybody comment, and if I don't see you, they're messing with me again, and I hope that it's cool you hang out anyway, you know? But, you know, because I haven't seen anybody comment, that's why I have it vertical, so I was hoping you could. But if not, I'll find the Blog Talk phone number, and you can call in that way if you want to, too.
So, yeah, so much going on, man. We're going crazy.
God.
People shooting each other, beating each other up, shooting each other in the back, going nuts. So I'm not going to go ahead and comment on any of that stuff. And there's other people up there that have covered it better. We're trying to get too political here. You know, especially these troubled times, people are going to get really crazy.
Well, listen, I'm neutral politically in the sense that we're at the end of the Kali Yuga right now. We're at the very end, and at the very end, the people in charge are pretty much the worst people around. So there's not many people above that are that good. Even some of the good people have a lot of flaws. You know what I mean? Like Julian Assange isn't a perfect guy, but he's at least hey somebody, thank you, so glad I see you. Yay, I'm glad you're here. But he's doing good work. He did great work. I mean, they just tormented him for it. You know, he's the only real reporter. He's out there just telling people facts. You know, that's it, just facts. You know what I mean? And they destroyed him for it. They destroyed him over it.
What I mostly want to comment on is the fact that differences are good, and we need to have them. There'd be a pretty shitty world with all like one gray plaid flannel fucking garmenture mentality. You know what I mean? So we need to have differences, but we also need to respect each other's differences. And the whole idea is that, okay, you have your point of view and I have my point of view, you know, but let's have a discussion, not an argument. You know what I mean? Let's try to find a common ground. It just seems, and I get it, man. You know, I mean, I'm more than likely than this, but I was lucky enough to grow up in D.C., and I watched men who, for a living, had to do this. I grew up around people on whom it was incumbent to maintain a steady, calm demeanor and really try to reach across the aisle, because if you didn't, you might have the fate of your nation at your hands.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Well, he grew up in D.C., so he grew up around people like that.
And so much of what I see today, especially on the internet, especially on all the news channels, is so many adults acting like children. Physically, they're adults.
Yeah.
Mentally, they're adults.
Like, we've been encouraged to be...
But in terms of their attitude, they act like little kids.
Yeah.
And here's what I'm saying. There's this viewpoint and this viewpoint, okay? And you can either, honestly, see there's a middle ground, and each lean in towards that middle ground and meet in the middle, or you can do your level fucking best to grab the other guy and drag them across the fucking center ground and into your camp. And that will never fucking happen, okay? It won't. It'll never fucking happen. People might willingly walk across, but no, it's never
basically, we have to find commonalities, and there are people at the top who want us to fight.
Exactly.
Okay? They just want us to fight each other.
And they want you to do so in a
there's
little
lots
bit
of
immature
reasons for
fashion.
it.
I understand people's frustration. God knows I do. And I understand how easy it is to go, you fucking piece of shit, look what you do. But the minute you do, you've lost. And that you can't come and go, look, man, however bad it is, however horrible it is, it's going to be here, and that means we got nowhere to go with up. Let's try. But, you know, people are just taking off on one another, going nuts, doing stupid shit. And it's not going anywhere. It's not going to help anything.
I truly believe a lot of this is that the poles are slowly shifting. If you've noticed, there's been a lot of volcanoes, a lot of earthquakes, a lot of weird weather, a lot of fires, and
Arctic Circle fires, Russian fires, it's super hot up there,
and
it's crazy.
unrest all over the world. Honestly, the fact that it's as peaceful as it is kind of miraculous. I really hope it doesn't get much worse.
Look at Beirut. Look at Belarus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Look at France.
But even there, as bad as it is, it could be worse. But the fact is, people are fighting in the streets everywhere in the world, and there's something affecting all of us. But it's like, if you have it inside of you that you want to go out there and cause trouble, you're going to go out and cause trouble. And that's the darkness leading you out to do that, basically. Listen, protesting is one thing. I'm totally for protesting. And rioting comes with the protesting, and I accept it, I understand it, but that doesn't mean that the rioters aren't fucked up people who are just looking for an excuse to be fucked up, because they are. You know?
What exactly are you either breaking, burning, looting, defacing, or destroying?
Because you'll find a lot of these people are people with really messed up criminal records.
Are you really supporting people you claim to? If you walk up and go, hey man, you're right, do you really speak for those you claim to speak for? Or are you using an opportunity to go out there and be a selfish little fucking shit and just do some prolific crap because you feel angry and bitter inside at whatever stupid crap is going through your head, and it's the perfect fucking justification for you.
I mean, I knew a guy when I was a kid. When I was a kid, it was the LA riots happened when I was a kid.
Yeah, and
I knew a guy who lived across the street from me who went down there with some of his thug buddies, and he was a white guy. He was a white thug. Okay, he went down there with some of his thug buddies because he was looking for an excuse to do bad shit, and they apparently ended up killing somebody and got away with it.
Yeah.
So it's like, these people who go into riot, people who, you know, it starts out with people who are genuinely angry, but people who are drawn to riots are people who want to riot, you know? But anyway, let's listen. We got to talk about the cabal. Okay,
my point and her point, what's wrong with you? My point and her point are divide and conquer. Okay?
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do to us.
Is out of many one, and people used to be so proud of their disparities as Americans.
Because we could come together on the fact that we want to be free, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for all, regardless of class, creed, or color. That's the thing I believe about America, and that's what I support. And that's the one thing that I think was beautiful, and they're destroying it. They want us to fight each other.
By polarizing us, by pitting us against one another, by drawing this line that is utterly kind of drawn in the sand, like you're here and I'm here. Again, it's all about blacks and whites, no shades of gray, no color, nothing but to start.
Yeah, just red and blue. If you're a blue, you got to accept all the blue shit. If you're a blue, you can't like guns. You're a blue. You're not supposed to like guns.
You can't like weed.
Exactly. If you're a red,
and that always destroys your third option. It will always destroy any third option you have. You've got to be a this or that, here or there. No in between.
And you
no
can't
room.
think for yourself because you can't see
that
you can choose what you want and that there is no morality involved with most of this stuff. Some things there is morality involved, and that's real shit that's actually going to hurt us genetically and as a people, like child molesting, obviously, cannibalizing. There are real genetic and actual reasons not to do some things, okay? A lot of other things are how you treat other people.
Reprehensible on anything that was halfway cognizant.
Obviously. I'm just saying, if you live in a cannibal culture, everybody's looking at you as a potential meal. It's not, like, a great idea if you don't want to live like that, you know? But, like, I'm going to get into the cabal. So, listen, share this around because I'm about to get into the stuff about the cabal that I've figured out. And this is just from me looking around, and I'm being, there's a little part of me that's above that's being guided by another person. It's telling me stuff. And they're kind of not just telling me, but they're showing me kind of on a higher scale. They show me kind of how it all puts together. So I've been doing some research. Part of it is the royalty is a big sign that the cabal, as QAnon says, the cabal is falling. Okay, but I'm going to get into why that's a partial lie. It's a half truth. Okay, because the thing is, there's two halves of one cabal, and the two halves mostly don't realize that they're two halves. They think there are two cabals. I've been saying there are two cabals, and there are, but when I looked at it a little deeper, I wanted to say this, but they're both connected.
Go ahead, keep going.
They're both connected to Israel. Okay, so you share this around. they're both connected to Israel, because even though the one that's winning is technically a Nazi, it's through NASA. It came through Project Paperclip, and it is in the Pentagon. Hey, it's in the Pentagon. It's all through that. And QAnon comes through the Pentagon. So QAnon is speaking for the German cabal, okay? It's speaking for that. And there are the eugenics cabal that believes in improving yourself that way, whereas the other cabal is the royalty and their bloodlines. And they believe in ancient Babylonian bloodlines. Now, the fact that the royals are clear, they're not coming back in the fall, okay? They're not coming back. The royals are never coming back, basically, okay? They've said already that the queen is not coming back in the fall, and not ever. She's never coming back to the palace. Then they said even if Prince Charles became king, quote unquote, he wouldn't live at the palace. Basically, the royals are no longer living at the palace. They took the queen's seal off the door. She handed over the key, okay? I don't think Prince Charles is ever going to get to be king. I think they're on the way out. I think this is proof that the bloodline side of the cabal is falling. The royals are the key to that. They're not even real bloodline. That's the thing. They had to Queen Victoria married off all her kids to the different royals in Europe because they knew that they were an illegitimate line anyway. Okay, and they were trying to shore up their royal blood. So they were already illegitimate since way before this. And this is probably another reason they're out, because they're phonies. Okay, there's a lot of stuff that the royals used to do in the Middle Ages that is documented. Popes did this stuff too. People in the Middle Ages believed that blood held life force, so when someone was ill, they would literally drink the blood of someone younger. Like the Pope, there's a Pope who was documented as having had given the blood of 3 young men. Okay, 3 young men, and that's what they did. This was what they did in the medieval world. They would leech blood, and they would literally transfuse. They would give you blood to drink until someone died, if you were royal enough or if you were holy enough. And this is the kind of thing that probably is still going on behind the scenes with some of these people. Okay, there's a lot of evidence of it in other places, like Bathory. Her connections, why she fell into what she fell into, which was bathing in blood, that there were these things already going on, and she just took it to another level, to a greater extreme. So these are not good people. Also about the Queen is accused, apparently sometime many years ago, she went to Canada to visit a school for Native American children, okay? This is not stuff you're going to hear around.
Lunchtime.
Like I said, you share this around because I've put a lot of stuff together. All right, so they went to visit a Native American school. They took the kids on a picnic. They took several of the children on a picnic. The children never came back to the school, and no one knows what happened to them. And apparently the Queen was found guilty in a world court several years ago of this. But of course, how are you going to take the Queen? She's the Queen, you know what I mean? That's what's going on. They can't just grab the Queen, So, but the fact that she's not coming back in the fall, there have been pictures showing her with possibly an ankle bracelet on, a prison-style one under her socks, very bulky. You can see it quite clearly. It could be that something was finally done about it, okay? Also, there are a lot of children being saved. Now, like I said, one cabal taking down another cabal. The other cabal is about eugenics and believes in their big order would be to eliminate all undesirables. That would be all homeless people, basically. For the most part, all homeless people. And it's for this reason that side of the cabal has been deliberately making the economy harder and harder and harder, because they're trying to make as many people homeless as possible. They're trying to make as many people insane as possible and homeless as possible, because the two tend to go together, and at some point they're going to get rid of them. Okay, these are the Nazi ones. They are no longer anti-Semitic, but they still believe, as they were told by the Vril, who are a group from the inner earth. They are not the only group. There are several groups from the inner earth, and most of them are cool and peaceful and would never tell people shit like this. But some of them are rightly know that we are overpopulated, and they feel it's their duty to help us if we ask. So they've been telling them to get rid of undesirables. When they told them in Germany to get rid of undesirables, Hitler immediately thought, oh, Jews, they're undesirables. But apparently they've made themselves a little clearer and were like, no, we want you to get rid of people with bad genes, They're still not doing it because definitely, well, they are sort of doing it because they're getting rid of the pedophiles. The pedophiles are part of that. Now, when I looked deeper at this, when I looked much deeper, first of all, it's been in mainstream newspapers several times, and they never talk about it. But I'm going to tell you right now, Epstein was in Mossad, which is the Israeli Secret Service. So he was working for Israel as much as he was working for the U.S., at least as much as he was working for the U.S. Okay, Epstein was in Mossad, the Israeli Secret Service, for the new person who showed up. He was working for them as much as anybody. And he had people. He had the Rothschilds in his book. I have pages from his book, from his black book saved. He had the Rothschilds. He had Barbara Walters. He had all kinds of people in his book. Hey, that you would not believe were there, like ridiculous people. Okay, like Courtney Love was in his book, and she lied about knowing him, but she knew him because she tweeted about it. You know, and anyway, the German cabal, he's as much connected to the German cabal as he is to the, like I said, they're not anti-Semitic anymore because they understand that Jewish people are actually more related to inner earth people than German people are. So they're not like that anymore. They can't be. They're not allowed. But they're just as willing to kill people off. What I see happening is that there's some core thing. They're about to take the next step in the New World Order kind of stuff, they're literally about to do it. The fact that they're taking down the Bloodline cabal, that was always going to happen because they're not the true Bloodline. Even if they were, the blood is super thin through all these people. It's thin as fuck. Every royal bloodline is thin, and they've all been shoring up their supposed powers with demonic magic. Okay, based on the magic they used to use to get to the gods, but they've perverted it on purpose because they weren't getting the power they used to get. Okay, so they've all been doing that stuff behind the scenes, and they were always going to go down. This is part of the plan. If you were from above, if you're on a higher dimensional plane, they were always going to go down first. The eugenics one's a little better because at least they're trying to create better people from scratch, and they're not being racist about it really anymore, but they're still willing to kill so many people, and they're going to probably do it before, There's part of what they want to do is turn people against each other. That's what I was talking about. They play this, German cabal versus Nazi cabal versus, bloodline cabal thing, this sort of snake versus, it's probably just an extension of if you don't know about this, there's a mythology that goes back to ancient times, to Sumeria and way before Sumer, way before it, like ancient primitive times. And it's the battle between the eagle and the snake, okay? And the eagle and the snake are always at war. And honestly, in the older versions, I got to be real with you, the eagle's a dick. The eagle comes down and eats the children of the snake on a regular basis. So, they're always at war with each other for that reason. Now, what that means, I don't know. I honestly think it means there's two different peoples that have been at war with each other. Maybe one takes the other as slaves or something. I couldn't tell you, but it's clearly symbolic for something along those lines. And this is just a continuation of that same battle, But it's a battle between two peoples that are the same people, in the same way that the Germans are not so genetically different than British, because British came from Angles in the first place, Angles and Saxons, they're German peoples, It's the same kind of fight. They're the same people, but they have some fundamental difference that I don't know about. I haven't figured out yet, that they are willing to go to war over. And it could be that whether we deserve rights or not. Like, I don't even know, but I definitely think that's part of it, because a lot of people are used as slaves during their sleep, during their dream time, on other levels. I really think that's what people are talking about when they talk about cloning centers. They wake up in other bodies. They're in this world, but they're probably in another dimension too, but they might not be. It could be just some sort of trick, but yeah, I mean, a lot of people live like that, and that's like, it takes your free will, and I believe that we were, in a way, deliberately evolved that way. If you look at a Neanderthal skull, Neanderthals had brains as large as ours, even maybe a little larger, actually, but a lot of their brain was in the back of their head, where your occipital bun is, and that's where all your psychic experiences happen. That's where, when you dream, when you experience God, other dimensions, that's what's making it easier for you, because you're literally, like, imagine you're inside of a robot, and you're controlling it with consciousness, because that's basically the truth. If the robot doesn't have a big enough memory, or it doesn't have a certain program, you can't access it no matter what, and that's what's going on with us. Like, we have those things that can't eliminate them, we wouldn't be alive, okay? But they've limited them to such a great degree, and it's partly through the way that the cycles of the ages are set up, and it's all set up. I mean, now I've been in magic long enough to where I look around and I feel like I know why they say, I can tell you thank you. But I can look around now, and it's like when Newton and those kind of guys were like, they saw a mechanical universe intelligently designed. I get what they're talking about. And they're just talking about the way the planets interact with the stars that are around us. It's a small area of space in relation to the galaxy, but it's a very large relation to us. But still, it's like the whole thing was put together in a specific way. And the moon is the biggest tell of all, because our moon shouldn't even be there. It's huge. It's huge compared to any moon in the world, any moon and any planet. It's like a second planet, basically. But it's like, and the fact that it fits over our sun perfectly is so impossible that it boggles the mind, really. Okay? All right. So I mean, a lot of people are kept in this way, and it gets really weird. Once you go from there, once you start going into the inner earth stuff, that's where it gets really scary. And that's where, I could talk to you about the book of Enoch and stuff, because there are correlations. In the book of Enoch, where good people die, they go to a place in the inner earth that's like a paradise. And bad people go to another place in the inner earth that's not a paradise, that's a hell, basically. And then there's another third place, I think, for other people who aren't judged yet or something. But basically, everything is in the inner earth. Like, when you die, you go down into this other, and it's like another dimension, even though it's kind of, I've been there, it's kind of weird. Like I said, it's like, it's a physical place, but it has the qualities of another dimension, and it literally is probably because we're interacting with another dimension, and we're feeling, and the mind sees it differently, But the more you go into it, the more it looks like everything was designed, everything was set up by God, by somebody, you know. But it doesn't, and then it makes you wonder about the Matrix. How much of this is the Matrix? I definitely believe in the Matrix because there is valid evidence for it. They in the equations for string theory, they found a computer code, and it's a computer code that a man named Claude Shannon invented in the 40s, and it's like the base code for our universe, okay? But I'm thinking, even if we were a universe within a universe, if we went to the level of string theory, we could still find evidence that we were in a matrix. So it could be that we're inside of a matrix within a matrix, or that the whole planets thing is actually a game mechanic. But it works as far as we're concerned because we're in the game. Either way, this is all manipulated by the way the stars sit. It's literally a game in the sense that they know exactly. Certain things are always the same. Certain star constellations are always the same. Like all the zodiac and stuff, you can predict where that's going to be. The planets are always in unique positions, but they're predictable positions, you know? And they can tell exactly how things are going to be just based on where those things are because of the way the frequencies hit us. And there is a medium. There's something called dark fluid that they've just discovered is real in space. So these things affect us here on Earth, and they know exactly how they affect us, and they've designed it in such a way that they can make stuff happen. But it's designed that way; it can't be changed. Like they want to change stuff, they have to put in the program they have to put in like Apocalypse 2.0 or something. You know what I mean? Ascension version, you know. But like, you know, they can't just like. They can't just stop it. They have to it's literally it has to wind itself out. Anyway, like I said, I found that both of the cabals are connected to Israel in some way. I'm believing that they're taking out the child molesters. I think that they've been tricking the child molesters by getting them to fucking sin, basically on purpose, with the plan of taking them out from the beginning. At some point in the future, just basically flushing out anybody who could be willing to be like that, and with the plan that at some point they were going to take them out anyway. This is not, the German cabal wouldn't know about this except at very high levels, and the bloodlines wouldn't really know at all, but if they're both connected to the same source, which I think they are, this is clearly they've been trying to deliberately, you know, they've been recruiting bad people to get more bad people with the plan of getting them all out at some point. And that's the first step. The second step will probably be maybe the homeless, okay? But when we're going through the thing where they're trying to turn us against each other, honestly, we're doing really well. For all the pressure they put on us, we're doing really, really well. Even with all the messed up stuff, and I'll talk about some of the other more real stuff, like more down-to-earth stuff. It's all real, but more down to earth. But they, you know, they want us to fight. They just want us to fight. But I think the homeless thing would be the next thing. Once they get through this, at some point it's going to look like somebody really won, and at that point they're going to start bringing in the actual New World Order stuff. They're going to be like, we took down the cabal, but they took down that side of it because they were already building up the whole thing behind the scenes, and that's so far what I've got, and I'm definitely going to be getting more soon. But yeah, I've seen it as like, are you okay?
Oh yeah, that was just bringing Gacker. Good shit, man.
Thank you.
Good shit.
Yeah, listen, remember to smoke a little weed or use an edible if you're able to, because it does provide, according to the studies, 73. Yeah, that's right. Hey, 73% protection against COVID.
Here's a classic one for you, the old Minutemen song, dude, with Dennis, when you're still around, about a minute 35. Party with me, punker.
Ooh.
Yeah,
cool.
People were never punks, man. They don't want to be a punk. You know, a punk is somebody who will suck your dick for a cigarette while you're fucking.
Yeah, it was punker back in the day.
Punker.
It's the difference between a Trekkie and a Trekker, I guess, because the real guys are Trekkers, you know?
Yeah.
Not Trekkies.
Yeah.
Trekkies are people like me who are big fans and borderline Trekkers, but not to that level, you know?
I'm sorry, that happens camera around there.
But I'm so glad you guys have been here. I'm going to talk about this more.
I just had some shit in the other room, but
Yeah, he got called away. Yeah, thank you for listening. Like, he's here. You know, he's part of it. He's doing it. But like, no, it's this is stuff that's coming to me as I'm analyzing stuff little by little, and it's I know nobody's gonna say this because listen, they're not gonna support anybody who's gonna tell you the blank truth. They have to tell you by cosmic law. And honestly, if at some point I'm able to argue, I am going to argue that it's totally unfair that they don't just come out and say it cleanly in a big
But they don't have
forum.
to. That's the point. They got to tell you.
Yeah.
That's like a joke. It's like when someone says, "Oh yeah, you know, I'm a big old crackhead."
Exactly.
But yeah,
exactly.
you are a crackhead, dude.
Well, that's why it's in movies, because it's like nobody will believe it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they call it predictive programming, but what they're actually doing is just letting you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we're acting like it's all big old lusty chuckle, but.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, the best example in the world is the movie Long Kiss Goodnight with Gina Davis. The plot of that movie was the CIA was going to fake a terrorist attack on the Twin Towers, you know, because they needed money and they were becoming obsolete because the Cold War was over. That's the plot of the movie. And then several years later, a terrorist took down the World Trade Center. And 9/11 was mentioned. The date was mentioned in subliminal ways throughout the movie.
They had an X-Files episode about roughly the similar plot, 1-2 weeks before?
Yeah, it's like literally they tell you beforehand. Part of it's they tell you beforehand, and part of it, if you see a theme in movies going across a long period of time, they're trying to get our unconscious to agree to let this happen. And they will work if you like the movie enough.
Look, guys, we all have a choice. We all have choices.
Yeah.
It's just that choices bring consequences, and I'm sure you're all good people, so I'm not really worried about it.
Yeah. But
people out there have never had so much power to bring down darkness and evil and ruin just by thought alone. I mean, they're being granted this by these really horrible exponential forces to just bring shit and chaos and filth.
Yeah.
And you got to be really careful. You know, careful who you associate with, careful who you talk to. There's a lot of people out there whose only goal in life is just to bring you down to their level no matter what. So.
Listen, I mean, we get haters, obviously, but I try to be loving to people. My whole thing is I try to work on myself, make myself a better person every day. And that's why if you look at me over the years, I've gotten better. I mean, even on MySpace, I could barely type on MySpace. I was nothing but typos and weird capitalized letter. It was like my brain was so chaotic. And it's because I've been working on myself consistently to get through the trauma and all the stuff that had messed me up that I'm as good as I am right now. And, you know, and I'm not great. I'm doing much better. I'm so much better that I might as well be great, but I'm not perfect, obviously. You know?
In the satanic community, obviously you've got different churches, disciples. You got the classic Church of Satan that LaVey founded. You have the Temple of Set, which is a spin-off by one of his practitioners, disciples, we call it Aquino and his wife. You have the Satanic Temple. And within, just like Christianity, you got, Presbyterians, you got this, that, and the other. But they all have action. But overall, they kind of have a similar thing. And if you really want to know where our society is going, where their aims are, the people who really have the power.
We love weed. We are supporters of weed. I think weed is different from God.
I've actually been out the beer for a little bit. Thank you, man. It's been poor. But we live in the desert. And, rather than going get the Arrowhead or the big container for the hay, I get a big 5-gallon thing of those. And there's a little place down there that charges like 20 cents a gallon, There's cool people in there, and I just refill my water from there. We're just chugging it all day long. But, you got to stay hydrated.
That's the only way to stay healthy out here in the desert. I knew a guy in singing when I was in music school who came from, Oklahoma, and he said at the end of the semester that he was shocked at everyone drinking water constantly.
So say is, if you go to the Church of Satan website, you will see a thing called pentagonal revisionism.
Yeah.
Okay? And it's simply a 5-point plan for what they choose to institute over the next 100 years, 5, 10, 20, in increment, all the way along, and have been doing so for many, many years now. And I won't go into what there are details of it, but if you look at what those things are, if you really look at what they are and what is occurring in society, you will absolutely, without a doubt, it ain't like, oh my God, it's a Rorschach. Oh yeah, look at it right there. You know what I mean? Okay? And one of the biggest ones of those is the idea of stratification.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They do not believe in equality. They believe that is a myth that only supports the weak at the expense of the strong.
Yeah, they do.
All right? And they want society to be like a cat again layered. Like, I'm here, you're here, or I'm here, and that's it, fucker. That's where it is. And you ain't playing. I mean, you can move, obviously. You're not like you're deadlocked, but you're going to have a place to sign depending on what you do, how you do it, you know, all these
Yeah.
positions and shit.
Yeah.
And one of the ways that they're going to go about it is by taking this equality thing and running it to the most ludicrous extreme, okay? I have no problem with the trans community. My brother was gay. I loved him dearly. He cross-dressed sometimes, okay? And that's, you know, if you feel like something some way, that's who you want to be, that's cool, man. No one should have the right to tell you are, or I don't care physically. However, if you are what used to be a very large, physically strong male, and you choose to transition to being a female, and then you want to compete in athletics, I'm sorry, I got a problem with that, man. That would be just like me yoking up on some old school roids and come rolling in and be like, you know what I mean? Because you have a distinctive, definitive advantage.
Well, my problem is they only require 1 year of hormone treatment.
Okay, but anyway,
for the Olympics and
this
stuff.
is part of that thing, to take something to its ludicrous extreme.
Yeah, it is kind of a ludicrous extreme.
Well, even beyond this, you will see the most amazing, crazy shit happen in society that will blow your fucking mind, all to make everyone kind of get to go, yeah, this is just getting really dumb, dude. We all got to do something, and that's when they come and go, yeah, okay, well, here's the layering effect. Bam. Okay? That's just point one. You guys can check out the other four. And so I'm not hating on anyone. I don't begrudge anyone's potential to do well in sports or thing. But, again, I think if you have what is obviously a definitive advantage, and you choose to go, no, I don't. You know what I mean? I'm not playing Emperor's New Clothes with anybody, motherfuckers. Okay? I won't hate on you. But don't tell me that shit is gold, because even Rumpelstiltskin couldn't spend shit in the gold, all right? You know what I mean?
Yep.
If you were once this kind of thing, and you have this physiology, this musculature, this bone density, all that shit, okay, the definitive advantage in hips and everything else, and then you suddenly, you know what I mean? You didn't just become, you know what I mean? Come on, man. You know what I mean? I got beat up on the playground as a kid. You know what I mean? I had that fifth grader that towered over you, fucking hulking little motherfucker, because, you know what I mean? I don't want anyone to be able to claim an unfair advantage as not being an unfair advantage the way it is, and they're going to do this.
Well, I just think sports that don't have size requirements need to include them now.
Yeah.
Because something like biking doesn't have that's what it is. They don't have like, you know, and the biker is one of them who did that. But I mean, in some cases, I think it's not horrible, but in other cases, I'm like, you know, it's a little. I mean, this person looked like they transitioned yesterday.
Yeah.
You know,
like, man. Again, if you like, so my brother was gay, he felt that way as a young kid, whatever. And if a kid wants to do whatever at home, if your child just has a natural penchant for wanting to, okay, cool, whatever. I don't think little kids, boy or girl, should be parading around in front of adults in sexy poses and dancing sexy.
No, that's sexualizing a child.
Yeah,
listen, drag queens are not sexy and you're saying that they're sexual, okay? and it's not.
No mercy whatsoever for child molesters. Not now, not ever, period, full stop.
No, listen.
You want to fuck kids, you gotta go.
Okay, everybody knows what the 100 monkey thing is, right? Basically, they did an experiment.
The one satanic faction, the Church Satan is absolutely against. No kids, no animals. The problem is other factions think that shit's just
see, he didn't tell you this. Okay, Aquino, what was he in the government?
He was a lieutenant colonel in the army at the Presidio.
He was, okay, so he was in the military. He disagreed with LaVey over two things. Go ahead.
First of all, Anton LaVey was what's basically referred to as a theistic Satanist, which is to say he didn't actually believe in Satan as an incarnate being or God. He believed in neither devil nor God or heaven or hell. He believed that men themselves created on earth and summoned, through supernatural forces in their own mind and things we don't understand, this thing that they call demons or darkness, whatever. That was his belief. Okay, Aquino was a deistic Satanist. He believed in Satan as an entity. He believed in Satan as a real being. The same thing was said, the actual Egyptian god of darkness, he believed in him as an entity. And he and his wife Lilith split off to form their own thing, and he's the kind of guy that thinks it's okay to have sex with kids. Or I don't know if he still has.
People don't want to.
That was his thing back then. He's like, depending on the child, the situation, and thing, and this and that.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
no,
they're not the only ones. I'm going to be like Robert and Yvonne. Robert and Yvonne Frost also they're borderline with that. If you know about them, borderline, and I say that kindly, it's borderline, okay? But there's several people don't like to admit that the occult community has this too, okay? I'm not saying that you're a Satanist or a bad person, because I know why. I understand what you mean by being a Satanist. I get it. You're angry at the church, and the church is evil, and it's been run by evil.
And again, Catholics have been lying about that shit for years.
Dude, the Catholic Church, I was raised in the Catholic Church. I was a Catholic schoolgirl. Every May, we would get roses. All the little girls would get roses and bring them to the statue of Mary, and we'd sing Queen of the May, oh, Queen of Heaven, Queen of the May, oh. It's a pagan fucking ritual to Ishtar.
Yeah,
it is. Boy. And I like Ishtar. You know, I love Ishtar, but I think that she cracked and something's wrong. I do. I really do, because Mary's some kind of far along incarnation.
I think being worshipped the wrong way and being twisted in this thing and saying this is, but isn't, but isn't, but is, kind of like all that same thing.
There's a lot of shit in there that's not. And then the child molesting.
Yeah.
This is my problem. Every single time Mary shows up as a freaking entity floating in the sky or to children, she has never mentioned child molesting. She has never spoken against it. You're appearing as a deity and you don't even mention child molesting? I have a problem. I don't believe that you're a goddess if you would do that.
And up here in Palmdale, there's a little place. It's a sanctuary. It's supposed to be for people that are homeless. You can go there and kick it. Okay, now they stopped doing that and try and charge you. But for a while, it was notorious.
Or a saint, rather.
That's where they sent the priests that were known to be touchy-feely with little kids.
I just feel like she's an incarnation of an ancient goddess. That's why I said that. But she's technically a saint. She appears like a goddess to people. She appears out of nowhere. Oh, my God, what are you supposed to think? We're weak. We're small. She appears like a beautiful angel of light. What are you supposed to think except that she's a beautiful goddess-like being, you know? And she fucking never mentions child molesting. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, why the fuck don't you ever mention it? And you know how many Satanists started out as Catholic?
You're confused when you say they don't mention it. You mean she should say, by mentioning it, don't do it.
Yeah, she never says there's child molesting in the church. I'm angry about it, and I want it stopped. I think any fucking mother would do that. What the hell is wrong with you, Mary? What is really controlling these Mary visitations? That's what I want to know. What's really creating them?
More importantly, who's getting these women and girls and men before they get a chance to talk to the public and kind of selectively editing that shit and saying, don't maybe mention it.
Yeah, maybe she is. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she's absolutely speaking about it every time and they're stopping it. But, hi. Hi, John. But, I don't know that. I can't be sure of that. All I know is that, she comes, she tells people to cling to the church, and so many people that are Satanists or Thelemites or other things that are dark come from Catholicism. I was a Thelemite.
My good buddy.
I'm not anymore. I'm a Christian witch.
My good buddy, who is pretty much no longer, but for a long time was a great devout practitioner, met LaVey himself, right? Was friendly with the circle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And classic altar boy. You know what I mean? Altar boy. I'm telling you, man, Catholic school, I don't have anything against Catholicism as an entity in and of itself, per se.
I love the church, but I'm so angry at it.
My own grandma was Catholic. I wasn't Christian. You know what I mean? But yes, over the years, just the smarmy seaminess, I can't deal with it anymore, man. I can't deal with people that blatantly know about that kind of evil, hide it and protect it. I can't, man. I do not.
That's not good. That means someone's benefiting from this on some psychic level, because that much pain doesn't go any. See, this is the other reason that I think it is the church, okay? Because there's a. Oh, go ahead.
You said, what do you think about psychic vampires not harmful? Well, it depends on who your psychic vampire is. And it's funny because my teacher brought this up. There's a great show called What We Do in the Shadows. If you guys haven't seen it, it's an FXX. It's fucking hilarious. And there's a character on there that is a psychic vampire. Cullerton. And yeah, man, if you got some scumbag that's just an annoying piece of shit, male or female, that's constantly, hermeticist, man, Kabbalion, there you go.
That's it. Let me jump in real quick. Okay. First of all, I have some energy attunements that I could give you if you're a psychic vampire. So you can PM me. I'm pretty sure I can just give you what I have for free. It's really helpful if you have energy problems, and that's what it is. You're the descendant of like a Nephilim or something, and you have energy needs. I get it, But there are people with a lot of excessive energy. CJ has a lot of excessive energy. So guess what little succubus gets to do to survive?
There's listeners. Actually,
Okay.
Or in it, you can, if you get the right legacy, you become literally a self-generating vampire, which is because you can drain energy, but you also become a little chi fountain. And
what you want to do is work on your chi gong.
You can also hype yourself up and supercharge yourself, and even though it would seem like the more you charge up, the less you would draw on, but then you can just like suck fuckers dry from, you know what I mean? But really, you really want to get to really negative, shitty, fucked up people out there, and because you don't want to draw too much, you got to kind of transmute it as you're sucking it in. But get the drain the drainers, man.
If they're first of all, prey on other vampires.
Prey on ones that have no morals or clout and are just those really basically like the big. If you ever go to a swamp, man, and you ever had a leech stuck on your leg, you know what I mean? Yeah. It sucks, but you know, and every now and then you'll have a bunch on there, and you'll see all those skinny ones, and you fucking think, and there's that one that's for some reason he's a bloated piece of shit, right? He's like, oh the fuck, and you know he didn't get that blood from you because you'd have felt it, you'd seen the wound, so he's already bloated when he slid up to us. You're like, man, you didn't need no more. You know what I mean? Ricky fucking leech, dude.
There's a lot of those.
Yeah, so when you see that fucker, suck him dry.
Basically, other vampires, bad people, or donors who have an excessive amount of energy and are not willing. That's how you stay clean. And basically you keep working on building energy.
These are donors who are not willing.
No, okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Donors who are willing, that have high energy, a lot of excessive energy, people who are hyper, stuff like that are willing and know that they're doing it, as well as bad people of any kind, and especially other vampires. That's how you stay clean, but you work on your energy needs, you work on your qigong, you work on breathing in the energy, you work on sparking your own energy so that you can eventually get to a balanced point.
Try practicing a little energy flow with yourself where you draw with one hand. Traditionally, you want to draw with the left hand and power with the right. But you can do it either way. You can vary and see what feels best for you, depending on your personality. If you're left-handed, you might want to reverse it.
Yeah, some left-handed people often do that.
Just like in Qigong, when you're doing an energy ball, you're literally bringing a flow. You know, it's flowing from one to the other, and then kind of flowing from this side to that side. You know, you're pausing it in the middle. So just practice that. Just see, at first, bring the fingertips close, see if you can feel like little electrical sparks, kind of going from one side to the other. And remember that you are literally a walking wet battery. Right now, you are just electricity moving through. You can quantify it. You can look at an electrostatic scale, right? So obviously, if you were able to shoot sparks from your fingers, you know what I mean, you'd be pretty high level. So don't expect to see anything, but you will literally feel like a tingling. Like right now, I'm feeling a fairly decent tingling between the fingers. You know what I mean? And then join them. You know what I mean? And just kind of pull it back and forth, and just do that for a while and get that flow and learn to feel that, and it will really help you not only regulate yourself, because it tends to cool, it tends to stagnate. I mean, the key will tend to stagnate, and those are vampiric more than others because it's trying to keep itself charged and not move too much. So just by doing that little flow exercise once or twice a day, it should help, and it should really help you learn how to do it. And eventually, you can also do it through different chakras if you want to. You can specifically, rather than drawing through your hands or other parts of your body, you can try to draw it right into the chakra to chakra, so to speak. It's a little more advanced, but definitely with a willing donor, I think, is the best way to go with that, man. Otherwise, you can fuck yourself up and them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you have to be really careful with stuff like that. Just morally, if you're not in control of your darkness, it's harder.
Yeah.
And you have to be really sweet and nice to be in control. I try to be. I'm a nice person.
Yeah.
I basically go to amusement parks and I feed on happiness and stuff.
And that's the thing. If you're an actual vampire, man. Oh, thank you, guys. Appreciate that. Yeah, well, man, every now and then you got to run under the moon, butt naked.
It's hard.
It's just, it's
hard to find people who are good donors.
I recommend you do this, man. Well, you can't do my fucking COVID. And see, COVID has fucked so many people in so many ways. Yeah. It really has. Because concerts are natural feeding centers, man. You know, go to an arena with 10,000 people, it's like, you know what I mean?
Listen, being a performer just is the perfect thing because people give you, basically you're channeling energy and you get to feed.
If you haven't slept well in a while,
it's a really good.
I hadn't slept for shit. I went down to this little place about a year or two ago, man. I see a buddy of mine, just in some little local, you know what I mean? Thing, in a bar or whatever. And I went home feeling so good, so I forgot how good it was. I'd just be out around people and be in the energy and draw it in. And I slept like a fucking baby that night, man. Mm-hmm. So it's really hard. I guess shit, you can't, social distancing and whatnot, crowd. Try to go in a fairly large crowd in a fairly good mood that is practicing social distancing and not like riots or any of that shit, man. That's just throwing a lot of negative energy, even though it will empower you quickly. It's kind of like the difference between meat and sugar, you know what I mean? Positive energy is like meat, it's nice, slow, but long-term, good, powerful. Negative energy is like sugar. It's a quick rush. But you know what I mean? Or like, I guess Coke and sugar.
I have like an allergy to anger. I get so angry. I make everyone angry around me.
It'll really bring you down. It'll fuck up your energy for days. I don't recommend it. You know what I mean?
It's just be a good person because Jesus is watching. It's probably the end. Yeah. Don't be bad guys.
You can selectively draw negative energy from one or two people at a time. But like large groups of really negative people, like mob, or riot, or protest and shit like that. Especially if it's night and they're, of a mood.
Really quick, I just want to say some stuff. There's a lot of misconceptions if you're a person who's like a vampire or dark in any way. There's a lot of misconceptions. Basically, what my understanding of it, the way they're explaining it to me, is the same higher dimensional beings that we consider angels are the same ones that are the fallen angels too. Basically, the reason they take care of us is because we're their descendants, and what happened to them is they got karmically stuck here because they are now responsible for us, but they chose that. So it's kind of a long-term kind of thing.
They're like angelic.
They're like there for. So people who think, I'm dark, I'm a vampire, you can find your ancestor, and they're probably a pretty good person. A lot of them, the way I'm reading it, a lot of them have actually healed themselves. A lot of them have actually been able to be healed by coming through the earth and are still just here to help us now. So
repentance and redemption are for everyone.
Yeah.
If you truly want it and if you truly mean it.
And a lot of times the demonic aspect will continue to exist without the angelic aspect too.
And that's where it's werewolves. Yeah. If you guys ever play ESO, if anyone's out here, Elder Scrolls Online, because I got a character as a vampire and a werewolf. You know what I mean? And and people say, you can't be both. You can be what you are, man. Whatever you feel an inclination to, you're going to feel. I've always felt the pull to the moon. I've always felt an affinity with canines and lupines and all those. You know what I mean? I also have had a very identification with vampires. The idea of fangs, the knife,
because
all that
my
stuff.
higher dimensional friend reminds me more of Sashomaru.
Everyone's got animals they're terrified of, but traditional spiders, snakes, bats, wolves. Never bugged me, man. You know what I mean? I grew up in Maryland with a lot of those little critters around. Yeah. Now, I'm not going to say I would go fucking shake a copperhead. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Or especially cottonmouths, because if anyone knows, those things are aggressive as fuck. And I recommend if you're in territory with them, man, avoid them, because they will chase you. They will strike you. But still, you know what I mean? If you've got it and you got that kind of thing and you're out in the woods, whatever, you should be able to project an aura. The Fae actually had another great exercise for being a werewolf, if you read it. I forgot what was in the Bible or the rituals, but either way, it's a really good thing. You basically even go out in nature to a very secluded place, very dark. Thank you, man. Have a good night, Sean.
Good night.
Take care of yourself, man. I know we're going a little late. I apologize. Go out to a secluded place and try and feel as afraid as you can. Try and make yourself feel all your childhood terrors, your fear of the darkness.
I've done that when we worked at Horror Nights. I would
Please don't interrupt.
Sorry.
Supercharge the atmosphere with fear. As much as you can, just make it, strong. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cast.
No, I feel bad.
You try and get all your childhood trauma, everything that made you afraid of the dark, afraid of dark woods, afraid of this, and you just pour it into that area. I mean, pour it in there. Just get afraid, feel fetal, just terrified, right? Supercharge the area. And then wait about a week or whatever, and ideally come back on a full moon, and now be opposite. Be the predator. Come into that area and just smell that fear. Feel that terror, feel that energy, you know what I mean? And feel your own lupine predatory instincts kick in and balance. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that you don't have to stop it. It's basically just you chasing yourself anyway. That's the whole point of it. It's, it's this thing, you got fear, there's anger, you know what I mean? And then that's how you basically transform, but in a healthy, self-satisfying kind of way. Oh, yeah, well, again, you know why, John? Sean, I'm sorry, I got that wrong. I was trying to say Sean, but mostly. Because dogs are innately excellent judges of character, and they don't err. They don't.
Yeah.
They don't. They do not. You know why? They can smell it. Bad people put out bad fucking pheromones. They do. You know what I mean? Bad people think, you're like, you're like, oh, motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dogs, no. Dogs, you're a good fucking guy, buddy. I love you. You know why? You're a good man. It's true. Conversely, if you're the kind of guy that walks in your neighborhood and dogs are going, any dog behind a fence is going to bark its fucking ass off, man. Their territory, they're doing their shit. But yeah, usually if they're with their owner and they're out, they're happy, they're in a good mood, they'll approach you if you're a good person and they'll like you. You know what I mean? They don't, well, okay, maybe you're a dark person. That's okay. Everyone's going to be, there's going to be some out there that are going to be kind of villainous, but know your character, know who you are, and try and do the best with it that you can. You know what I mean? There's just a lot of dirtbags in this world, man. And
basically, if you can try to think of others before you think of yourself, you'll probably won't be dark for too long.
Yeah.
If you're too dark. Because mostly what he's talking about is actually, it's the animal part of you. And some of us are a little more psychic, a little more sensitive to that. We all have a dark aspect of ourselves. And some people's dark aspect is very strong because they're used as a way to reincarnate certain personalities over and over.
Or you've got a lineage or both.
And well, either way, that's what they're doing. They're reincarnating energies. But that thing becomes like I actually, there are talks of, they talk about.
I love rescue mutts.
They talk about in Salem and different stories about witches where they talk about she sent her shadow. Well, I actually have a shadow, so I'm like, oh, is that real? And, I never thought that was real. But, I think it is real for some people. My shadow doesn't do anything bad because I think I keep myself, in a good state of mind, I'm a good person,
You just like me in the sunlight, like all shadows do. You know what I mean? People out and go, no, man, what's your shadow?
I get mad at injustice, and that's when things might happen, if there's injustice. That's my whole thing, is injustice. I get really mad at injustice.
We were just talking about getting a little pickle puppy. We love to watch those little things on YouTube where you see the rescue dogs. And it's always the same thing, man. People, some poor dog starving and about to put down. And then a week later, the thing is the most loving, affectionate, sweet, cute, happy thing you've ever seen.
But really quickly, what I was saying was even this dark aspect of yourself, as you get older, it will it'll calm down. It'll fade until it's almost like it's just a servant of you, in a sense, instead of being something that runs you. It is this I need to do, you know how it is when you're a teenager and stuff, and you're crazy. I wanted to run and climb. I've had that same stuff, but that just, as you get older, it transforms. Yeah. If you work on yourself, you can transform yourself.
It's always good to go out to a fairly safe, well, God, now with pigs and shit, you can't do a damn thing. Get out there and just be in the woods, the hills, fields, do a little climbing on a safe cliff. If you guys live anywhere in the San Fernando Valley, I recommend Chatsworth Park. Chatsworth North or South. There's some good hills there. Try to avoid the train tracks, man. There's too many dipshits around there now and nitwits, but everything else. There we go. That was going to run down pretty sick. Well, thanks for bearing with us, guys. Sorry to be absent for a pretty good chunk of it, but it's
good. Listen, it's good to talk about the energy stuff. We'll talk more about the cabal as I get more information. I'll basically reiterate some of this next week, and then if I get more information during that time, I'll add to it. But I think that this is all part of the plan toward the end.
So, regardless, and there's people in this world that think and want different things, and never delude yourself that they aren't desperately trying to push those aims and achieve them forward as fast as possible.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone take care of yourselves, whatever deity you believe in. May it bless you, keep you whole, safe, healthy, happy, and good till next week, guys. Oh, there you go. As long as it's into some water, man. Yeah. All right, guys.
Okay.
Be well, and we'll talk to you
Love
next
you
week. Thanks for tuning in. I don't want to finish. No!
That went pretty well.
Yes, it did. Thank you, guys.